I'm Big Bob.
And I'm Ann.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, Big Bob?
Okay, everything's great. What's up, Ann?
Hey, it's a great Monday. It's the first Monday in October, and we're going to be rocking and rolling
What
with
year?
our guest today. 2023.
You know, this might last more than a couple of years.
It
So
could be.
so we don't want to make sure that we limit
That's
ourselves, right?
That's true.
So it's October.
2023, October 2nd, 2023.
Yes. And who is our guest today?
The fabulous, the
Fabulous.
Impressive, the remarkable Kim Case.
You just met her just now, didn't you?
Yeah. But her reputation precedes her.
Oh, mercy.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us today. As we always do, we start this show out with a shout out to our executive producer, Brenda Ringwald. Ringwald.
You always mess
Check-
it up.
Check the teleprompter, would you please?
Making up new names for
Right.
our friend Brenda.
Well, she's incognito sometimes. Anyways, Brenda is the founder of Becoming the Best You, and we're thrilled to death for the association.
Yes.
Kimberly, why are you here?
Yeah, well, I have a story, and it's taken
Thank you very
me.
much. So,
That's right. That's what I'll say. Yeah. No, it's taken me working to be the best me that I can be, really, to work through it, to make it have purpose. So that's why I'm here, I think, to share that journey with you.
Once part of the journey to become the best you is to share, to service.
Absolutely.
And if you have something to give back, you can never become the best you until you've given back.
It's very true.
So we're thrilled to death to have you here, opportunity to share and hear
Yes.
your story. And certainly don't want to make light of it. There's nothing funny about it, but I have social Tourette's, so I'm probably going to make fun of it.
And he's becoming the best used, biggest work in progress.
Right.
See.
I don't think I'll ever get there.
But we'll all be
So,
championing you. That's
thank
for
you.
sure.
Your
Yes.
story.
Yeah, well, Kansas City girl, born and raised here in the Northland, and just, living my life, looking forward to everything that was in front of me. Was out of high school, turned 19, enjoying that summer, and really turned out to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And after working an evening shift as a waitress at a local restaurant, a chain restaurant that we all know and love, was followed home by 4 men that were in town.
Can you tell the story even if I interrupt from time
Sure.
to time?
He's going to interrupt a lot, so this will be a
Okay.
great exercise
Yes.
for you.
You did nothing wrong.
No, did nothing
You,
wrong.
you weren't wearing provocative, come take me off the street, I'm game type
Right.
of clothing.
Exactly. No. And I had worked, but that's even one of the myths that somehow
Yeah.
somebody is,
Provocatively.
right.
But what you
asking
said
for it.
so far that I'm latched onto, wrong place, wrong time.
Mhm. And unfortunately, that's where the element of criminality comes into it a lot. We see that now played out in the media all the time, right? We think we're just going about our day, going to Walmart or going to church or going to a concert, right? And someone's out to harm, and that's what happened in this case. They four men with criminal histories and about to go back to prison for some additional acts, and they just set out to party and they had a plan. They were going to kidnap and kill someone. And I came into their path.
They were going to kidnap and kill.
That's typically how those stories end, sadly.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It was really by the grace of God that I was able to escape. I literally pulled my hand from a locked handcuff. Impossible,
I
really.
mean, slipped through.
Yeah, I mean, it was latched, so it was working, pulling.
No
While
scars.
yeah,
19, so it was
yeah,
quite
it
some
was
time
quite some
ago.
time ago.
Not
Mhm.
that long ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple,
30 years.
couple decades. Yeah.
Um, how does anybody get out of this cycle of
Mhm.
self-doubt, putting yourself down, self-denial? How do you get out of that cycle?
And that's the hard part. That's where the fight began really. I mean, I fought for my life during every second of those 16 hours that I was, held captive by these four men. And it was just trying to manage every moment, how I could get away. But then facing the criminal justice system, I had no idea what that would entail. And it was, years of difficult going through the system, but just having to fight through it and having that will to survive.
Did they all go to jail?
They did. They all four, yes, were found guilty, pled guilty, a variety, a mix and match. But unfortunately, now we've crossed a new threshold in my journey, in that one of them has received a release, and he's
Right.
out on parole, and it's been really disappointing.
Before we go
Yeah.
there, were your parents supportive or judgmental?
They were supportive. They were really just wanted to, be in there to let me know that I wasn't alone. And
I can't even
so-
imagine how they
No.
felt being a mom. I
Right?
can't imagine.
Oh.
I know.
Um,
Poor mom.
Siblings?
Yes, a brother and sisters, and it was tough on all of us, to
Look.
realize.
The whole family was traumatized,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
I mean, you took the brunt of it. You took the first, second, third bullet, but the whole rest of the family was traumatized.
Right. They had to go through the system, and
They were all victims.
all victims. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it change your relationships going forward? Did it solidify them? Did it kind of put in a few stumbling blocks? How did it alter those?
Yeah, that's a great question. A little bit of all of that. It's really hard for people when someone goes through that to know what to say, to know how to respond
Right.
and how to treat them. And we were at that weird stage of life where everyone's stepping into the next. Whether it's school or job or marriage or whatever is next in that time. And then I was just kind of stalled, and so everyone was kind of going on with life, and that was hard for me to watch. So I wasn't sure, really how to be
Yeah.
in those days.
Well, you're obviously not a 19-year-old woman anymore, right? I mean, you don't seem like you're damaged goods. You don't seem like you're over traumatized. You don't seem like you're stuck in the mud and revisiting this thing every day and feeling sorry for yourself. You've moved on. How did you do that?
Yeah, that's really been the journey as well. Sometimes I felt like, gosh, it's been really hard to live with this. Like dying almost felt like it might have been easier because the process of just figuring out how to assimilate life. But my faith is really strong, and knowing that, this wasn't the original plan for my life. God had another plan, and this was hurt from another, but I could still go back to that course. And so I just fought hard to find balance and counseling, all the things that you do.
Did you feel God had abandoned you?
That's, I really didn't. And the interesting thing is that I was a newer Christian at the time. I'd just recently been baptized and before that. And so it was all new. But I think I chose to believe that the reason I escaped was his doing and plan. And not that he had abandoned me, but in fact, he had given me strength and perseverance, all things that, you just don't know that you have at 19.
That's funny you should ask that question, because I was just going to ask her the exact opposite. Did you feel a divine presence when you were there that led you out of this?
I would have felt a divine presence when I hit the street and got in my mom and dad's arms,
Yeah.
maybe. But when I'm sitting there locked up and being abused, I would be saying, God, where are you? Why are you not looking out for me? Why is this happening? Why have you allowed this to happen to me?
Well, if
My
you're
faith-
asking that
My
question,
faith in God would have been questioned at the lowest point of my life. Then I would have probably felt abandoned.
And that makes sense. And I think that people do struggle with that and feel that. And so I really can empathize. I'm thankful that for some reason it was the kind of the opposite for me.
Good for you.
And that I just believed that, well, there must be purpose still for my life, or, I had nothing else to do except to survive at that point. So yeah, I leaned in there. That's a difficult thing for people with a strong faith that have faced victimization or loss, because it's easy to wonder.
sometimes it's
yeah.
always, there's got to be a purpose for everything, despite the hardships.
I mean, if God is omniscient, right? How could, right?
Mhm.
And not just you, but all the other sad, nasty, useless, stupid things
That people
that
do.
that happens in our society since the beginning of time.
Yes.
how do we understand, justify, or deal with it? It's crazy.
It is crazy. And the fact that people have that free will, that we know these are choices they're making, to harm and to hurt. And that's something that was really hard to wrestle with, because I thought, wow, I believe people were good. And yet,
Well, I'm curious too, because you said this happened when you were 19, correct?
Mhm.
So you're at the precipice of determining where you're going to go with your
Yes.
life.
yes.
And you probably had a general, or maybe even a vague idea of where you were going to go. And
Mhm.
That's a
obviously,
great idea.
Yeah.
What did you want to be when you grew up when you were 19?
Yeah. I really want to be a flight attendant. I really did. I thought it would be great to meet you guys on an airplane somewhere,
well, you got you
and
spread
would never
wings a
travel.
different
We,
way.
we would never travel together.
God, I
not, on
have.
not on purpose.
Oh, and remind me to tell the
No, I
airplane
don't wanna hear
story.
that.
later.
oh, I need to hear
But
that.
I've
it sounds
traveled
like.
with you. Just you put me in the back, and you were first class.
Oh, I see
That's
how
not
that
true
works.
because I've
Yeah.
never traveled first class in my life.
But I have a story about you for another time that someone else knows you who was traveling with you.
Mm.
Is it PG?
Yes.
Okay. So
So it fits. Yeah.
16 hours doesn't sound like ever.
Probably felt like 10 years.
It
Yeah.
was forever.
It felt like forever. Yeah. The interesting thing is like the gang dynamic that I could see going on with them, and as they were making decisions and talking, and even during the abuses. So it felt so unstable. I really just didn't know from second to second. But that's where back to that piece of faith and just being able to rest there a little bit was helpful. But yeah, when you look at life, then it's like, okay, what do I do now? Right.
Did you feel like, were you communicating with them, or was it more like the terror of the situation made you mute?
Yeah, it was pretty much that. There were a couple times that I did speak out or say something. Mostly it was just begging for
Mercy.
mercy.
You reliving this as a vocation is very courageous.
Thank you. Thank you.
Something I would never do. Taking the lowest point of my life and wearing it as a badge of honor and saying, let me share with you my pain to help you with your pain. It is selfless and beautiful.
Thank you.
And I don't know how many people you've helped. I'm hearing this story for the first time, and you've helped me. And we just doing this for 10 minutes. Wait until we're
He
together.
needs a lot of help.
Yeah, I do. So why relive it? And do you relive it every time you tell it?
I do, and I relive it in like different ways, and how
There's nothing
Yeah.
positive here. It's all
Yeah.
ugly.
right.
All ugly.
What unfortunately what was exposed after it happened was just the gaps that existed in the criminal justice system, and how hard it was to walk through that as a victim, because you're looked at basically as a witness, as a piece of evidence. So, and especially then, there were really no rights that the victims had to even be present or know
Oh,
what the
geez.
deals were. And
The
so
questioning.
yeah,
The
yes,
questioning.
right,
Well,
all the
you're
things.
really asking for. You really were
Right.
saying, please, can I have another
Yeah.
serving, please? Thank you very much.
That's what they do to you.
Right.
Yeah. And so I felt a calling to like try to help balance that a little bit, because one of the counties had a role, it was called an advocate, a victim's advocate. And
Right.
they were there just to make sure that, your needs were met and you had the information and all. And so that position really helped. So then that started my career of wanting to make that a normal part of the criminal justice
Did
system.
anybody advise you, just because they were concerned with your own mental health, to not do this? Like, why do you want to do this?
Yeah, through the years. And I have close friends and family that see, I think, the toll that it takes sometimes
Look what's
carrying
happening right here.
these stories.
You volunteered, raised your hand, said, "Yeah, let's relive this thing one more time." I haven't been abused enough,
I
and,
just-
and,
yeah.
and it's. I mean, all 6 people who watch our podcast are going to be greatly moved by this, right?
That's the hope. That's the hope, that people will realize that, you can rewrite your story at any time, and you can say the hard things and choose to step into that and try to turn it to joy. And that's been the honor.
Who's your audience? Is it the prosecutors? Is it the police? Is it the girls or boys that have been abused? Who's your audience?
Yeah, you nailed it. All of those avenues of the system, and then also women's events or groups or inspirational opportunities to share, a story of overcoming. But particularly the criminal justice system, prosecutors, law enforcement, trying to help them see it from the victim's perspective.
So I don't want to minimize anything. And I don't, but boys get sexually abused also.
Yes.
It's not just men on women, it's men on boys,
Mhm.
That's right.
right? And
Yes.
occasionally, once every 1,000,000,000,000 times, it's a woman abusing a little boy or little girl,
It does happen.
right? It has happened once, I think, in the history of mankind. Do you have nightmares?
I did. I struggled with a lot of those things that, you would kind of assume. And then counseling, that really helped for years and years. This new phase of this, having all these parole hearings and all these things happening has caused some of that to come back. And that's been frustrating because you work so hard to
Get over that.
yeah,
beyond
to
that.
get beyond that. And then for it to kind of come back at you.
It's not fair to you. It's almost
No.
like you're paying a price greater
She's
than
reliving
yeah,
this shit.
Yeah.
And it's not the abuse. I'm taking a stab here. It's not the 16 hours that gives you the heartache, and it's the system
Yes.
and how slow it was to respond, and how unsupportive it was, and how judgmental it was,
Yes.
and that was even worse than the 16 hours.
It's almost like
That-
16 hours equals 16 years and above.
Yeah, it was the pain. The pain wasn't the 16 hours. I mean, that left a scar that will never go away, right? That left a scar that will never go away. But the daily pain is from everything that happened afterwards.
Yes. Yes.
Is that,
It is. That's well said because it is true, and that's the difficulties that as we're looking at the system right now, and we're all communities are talking about criminal justice reform and truth in sentencing and all of these, no bail, and I'm not sure the victim's voice or perspective is brought to a lot of those conversations, and so I feel like we're stepping backwards a little bit and forgetting how difficult it really is to go through it from this perspective.
how involved are you with victims organizations?
Yeah, very involved. I work from the local all the way up to the national level. And that's been a really neat honor. I've consulted and created programs for the FBI Victim Services team, the Office of Victim Services, Department of Justice, some, big organizations that really want to make change. And to be a part of those allows you to feel like your experience is somehow turning to serve, mankind, taking the power away from the evil and bringing the light in, I think.
Kimberly, slap my hand because I'm about to say something I shouldn't have said.
Okay. Well, maybe I should hold your hand, huh?
Without this terrible experience, you would have done shit with your life that never added up to anything. You would have been
Absolutely.
very average.
Yeah.
You would have not added anything to our society.
We
Likely.
should know.
Your
Talk about
pain.
average.
Yeah.
Your
We're all
pain,
over average over here.
your
Yeah.
pain, and your ugly, unfortunate experiences, total, are adding value to our society.
Yeah.
And
you.
it is a gift that you're giving all of us through your pain. And I can't imagine. I mean, I can't relate. I can't imagine. You see things in the movies and on TV, and you go, "Yeah, it's make believe." This is real. And thank you.
But I do have a question, and if it crosses the line, or we can cut it. I'm curious. Do you have children?
I do. I have 2 daughters. And
Oh, gee.
that was,
How
hard
old
to
are
go through. They're in their late 20s now.
Okay,
So
because
they're grown.
and I'm sure there was a time where you felt it was appropriate to let them know what happened, and like how did they respond? Number one, and number two, I'm sure this is because I'm a mother of 3 boys.
Uh-huh.
This had to affect the way maybe you wanted to always protect them
Yes.
from things.
Yes, that was challenging because I knew, things that could happen. And so I always had
Even
that fear
healthy
and worry.
boys.
Yeah.
Even healthy, normal, well-adjusted boys.
Yes, there are just
Right.
so much out there that can happen. And that was challenging through those years of trying to keep protections but yet also let them
Were you
live.
crazy?
Yeah. I don't feel like I was, no. I didn't even
Did
tell
they
them. And
accuse you of being crazy?
When did you tell them?
They didn't accuse me. They may think it, but I've never said it out loud.
Right.
They were in their,
Early teens.
yeah, exactly, early teens.
How did they respond?
It was
Scared
hard for
shitless.
them. Yeah, basically. I love this is kind of the commentary. That's true. Yeah, I mean, they tried to be brave because they saw that, hey, mom's used this and this is her work now, and they tried to understand that. But I think they were, pretty shocked that it could happen.
Special husband.
Yeah.
The man's got to be special.
Yeah. It's been, that side of relationships are hard just because there's just so much that you bring into a relationship when you've experienced this.
Right.
But, the right people really want to be a part of it for the right reasons and understand that. So it makes sense. Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming speaking engagements?
Well, I actually am going to be in Lincoln, Nebraska next week with a human trafficking organization and talking to,
Oh,
their.
wait
Yes.
a second.
Yes.
That's front page news.
It is.
I work
it
with
is.
people in the human trafficking
you?
arena. I have
Yeah.
a friend who works for the Pentagon, and
Doesn't she
she.
look like former military or
She
FBI?
does.
With
She
that
could.
hat on and
Yeah,
all that
that's
stuff?
exactly what
I
they.
work
Right.
for the PGA.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's fun too.
What does that stand for?
if you don't know, you don't belong here.
Well, cool. Yeah. So human trafficking is a field
That's
I work in and support.
What did you
Yeah.
think of the movie?
So I have chosen not to see it because,
Really?
most of
Have
my
you seen
work
it?
I
is
have not, but I
The Sound
wanted
of
to. I know
Freedom.
you
Sound of
did.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
most of my work is that intense every day. So I just kind of draw a line sometimes and don't take any more in if I don't have to.
When I saw it, I wanted to get up and walk out because it just broke my heart.
Right.
I mean, I didn't want to see this.
Yeah.
I didn't want to know how prevalent it is.
Yes.
I mean, hearing about it, but seeing it,
It's a different story.
oh, and there was zero X-rated. It was besides the language, it wasn't even R-rated.
Let's see.
I mean, no visualization of
Yeah.
anything, and it broke my heart.
Mhm.
And it's happening all over the world.
It is.
It's-
Yeah,
it's
right
not-
under our noses.
It's not just happening in our neighborhood.
No.
It's not just happening in somebody else's. It's happening everywhere.
Yeah. To our boys and girls and, our men and women. And it's just all
It's one of the most profitable industries in the
sure
world.
is.
That was part of the film, that it has surpassed drugs
Mhm.
and weapons as the number one volume crime in the world.
Mhm. Yeah. Just
Children.
children. Right.
Little
Children.
kids.
I know.
Oh,
It's so just doesn't make sense for our
Something's-
brains.
right.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well,
So how about
I
them
know.
Chiefs?
Yeah, we could go there. How about those Chiefs? Just pulling it out by the skin of their teeth. Huh?
Right, well,
yeah, it's fun.
long season.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What do you think of Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That's been fun, but I'm such a Kelsey fan. So one day I was driving along Shawnee Mission Parkway coming up from the plaza around, and he drove up next to me.
Are you? Did you
Yes,
look at
I
him?
did.
Did
'cause
he
was in a
wave?
car, fancy car, and so I kind of saw the car, and I thought, oh, and then I realized it was him, and so he waved and gave me a grin, and then I was like,
Oh, how
it was
funny.
so fun, and I
Ha-
gave him a grin.
Have you
and-
seen those things on social media where the girls who aren't into football all of a sudden tell their husbands, "Hey, have you heard that Taylor Swift has really given a new name to
Yes.
this football player, really elevating him and making him popular?"
Right.
Travis Kelsey, he's like becoming famous because of Taylor Swift.
Because of her, right? That's funny. Yes, we all knew. We all know the truth there, huh?
Well, she is more famous than him.
Right, but
She's
he
famous.
had a name for himself long before she.
I don't think she's selling more jerseys because that he's going out with her. Do you think they're going out? Or do you think maybe it's just let's hang out, let's be friends. If we ever hook up, it might be way down the road, but let's not put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And if we get some good PR, who the hell,
Yeah.
right? We'll cash
That's
in
what I
on that
think.
too.
I think that's what's happening. I don't know.
It's hard to tell. I mean, I saw a
Jesse?
picture today of them holding hands, walking somewhere, but then again, I saw a picture of her holding hands with one of her friends. So maybe that's what she does.
Yeah, right. It's hard to know. But it's
I
fun
don't
to
know
talk
why
about.
I'd say this and have all six people see it, but he is one gorgeous man. And I think she's average
Yeah.
looking, right?
Right.
right?
So she got a good one, huh?
Well, if looks is all that counts. Now, I don't know. I like what I see of Travis's personality
For sure.
because he shows it in football and on his podcast
Yes.
and his interviews. I know nothing about her interviews because I don't.
You're
Her
not a
personality. I couldn't name one Swift song, not one, and that's okay.
Mhm.
I know she's one of the most popular
Definitely.
recording artists
Yes.
on the planet. And good for her, but
Mhm.
she might be the most wonderful, giving
Yeah.
girlfriend in the world. Who
We
knows?
might make a wonderful couple.
Yeah, they'd have rich mommies and daddies.
Uh-huh.
All right, what do you do for recreation?
I like to run. So I'm a runner
Me
and
too.
yoga. Yep. I'm just taking up golf. So I'm trying to learn some golf. And there we go.
She's a professional golfer.
Okay.
No, I work for the Midwest Section PGA.
Well, you're a professional tennis player,
Yes, I'm a
Oh.
tennis player, but more of
Very
a runner. But I work for the PGA sometimes.
but you
I
don't
have
play
a couple
pickleball.
jobs.
But you don't play pickleball.
No,
I haven't taken that up yet either.
It's going to be an Olympic sport.
that's what I've heard.
Mhm.
That's what I've heard.
All right. Grandchildren.
Yes, I have a little granddaughter and another on the
Shit.
way.
You're in you just barely turned 50,
Uh-huh.
and your grandparents. That's just so unfair.
Are you waiting it out?
I'm in my early 70s, and I got two little granddaughters. That's it.
That's it, huh? They're a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That's
they are.
definitely fun.
Yeah,
Mhm. So I love it.
yeah. Travel much?
I do. I love to travel. Yep. I just
Outside
got
of
back from
speaking?
Sedona. Yes. I try to do some travel for fun.
Sedona.
Yes. I just went
I wanna
to
go
Sedona
there.
this weekend. It was amazing.
Beautiful.
You
Yeah.
been?
Yeah.
They
It
let
was
you in?
beautiful.
No, they let me out.
I figured.
What does he do?
He works in electrical contracting. So a little admin stuff there.
Um, have you written any books?
No, I have not.
You should.
I
I
thought
was gonna
about it
ask you
and-
that.
Yeah. I thought about
Anne
it.
happens to be a world-class ghostwriter.
That's what I need is a ghostwriter because I
Right.
can't. put it
She
all
wrote my
together.
book. I just sat
Oh.
and blah 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 blah
Pontificated
blah.
endlessly. Dribble.
How did you organize any of those thoughts? Huh?
Oh, it was tough, but I managed.
Oh,
Right.
well,
He's
Yeah.
a very wise man.
I had to critique her a lot, and then
Mhm.
I'm sorry I didn't mean it like that. And yeah, she'd be thrilled to death to write your book.
Yeah, well, wonderful. That's
We
what
could-
I need. Yeah,
We could talk about it on a
Mhm.
run.
I love that idea. Yes.
Wait. If she can talk while she's running, you're not running fast enough.
I can talk while I'm running and I can run fast. That's one thing I can do.
You can talk and run at the same time.
Yes.
Fast.
Yes.
Why am I not surprised?
Because
It's endurance.
yes.
No,
Yes.
no. She
You
just
can't
loves the
even-
sound of her own voice. even if she's
can't
running.
even walk and chew gum.
You're right. I can't. You're one of my new heroes.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you.
You
Tom.
should
I
put her
appreciate
picture
that.
on the wall.
Hey, there we
in
go.
this Hall of Fame.
There's probably a picture of Brenda and I somewhere you could pop up.
Yeah.
yes.
Liven the place up a bit.
Thank you very much.
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
having
Well,
me.
do you have a
letting me
website, by
share.
the way?
I do.
What is it?
KimCase.org.
Kim Case, like
Yes,
C-A-S-E.
That's
We're
right.
on the case.
Yes.
Kim Case.
That's right. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And if people
you
want
for
to
having
hire
me.
you to speak, they can contact you through your
I
website.
sure can. Yeah.
But before we leave, what question should we have asked we didn't ask you?
I think you covered it, especially with the questions about the faith and how that made me, look at that. Those are important components to me because those are the messages I want people to hear and understand and know that all that is normal. So I think that was fabulous. All the right questions.
I didn't go into anything about the 16 hours.
Yeah.
Because for me, that was private.
Yeah.
Everything after the 16 hours, I wanted to talk about.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes. Thank you for the
All
opportunity.
right. No,
Awesome.
thank you very, very
Yeah.
much.
Well, we want to thank you for putting up with him. So now you can see what my life is like.
Yes.
And laughing at her shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Well,
till next time.
yes.
Thanks very
See ya.
much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Appreciate it.